In Silicon Valley, we work in a fast-paced and demanding environment which requires women leaders such as these represented here today. These women play key roles in delivering technology, enabling productivity, and driving results. These women are leaders in their fields and role models for future generation of women leaders. The 2015 YWCA Tribute to Women Honorees represent the best in their fields. Please join me in congratulating all of them, especially Latka Venkachari from Synopsys. Congratulations.
I am an electrical engineer. I work on wireless communication systems such as wireless LAN, GPS, and Bluetooth. The most empowering experience in my career is to step out of my comfort zone to take new challenges that requires new skill sets. Over the time, I worked on algorithm design, software, testing, customer support, and project leadership. New challenges are the best opportunities for me to learn and grow. I encourage everyone to take new challenges.
Mentorship has had a huge impact on my career, but not just my official mentors who have been awesome, but also proteges, colleagues, sometimes even my clients. So some advice that I've gotten is to speak with a more affirmative voice. From one of my proteges, to keep up with technology by trying the hello world. From one of my mentors, how to start tweeting. And from another one, how to model the behavior that I want for my team in terms of work-life balance.
I have always overcome obstacles throughout my life. I grew up in a very small town in India where most of my friends at school were first-generation learners, and the school was very ordinary. And going to an engineering college for a woman was unheard of. So when I set up my mind in high school that I was pretty good at English and math and I wanted to become an engineer, people sort of laughed at me, but then I'm used to questioning establishment and norms. For example, sports was not something that a girl would play in India, but I always played sports with the boys. So I made it to engineering, and I would say that nothing is off limits, and I'm also very lucky to have grown up in a family where I got all the opportunity that my brother got. So I strongly believe that a woman can do anything that a man can do.
I recall one particular mentorship experience that resulted in a paradigm shift for me. Early in my career, I was working with a senior male executive. He had become very difficult to work with, and I found myself taking his behavior personally. It was upsetting to me. My mentor said something so simple. This is not about you. He is worried about his job. You should empathize with him, understand his position, and that will help you find ways to work with him. It sounds so simple. Understand, have empathy. A light bulb went off in my head. Since then, I empathize first, and that has made me a much more effective mentor and coach.
The most powerful mentoring experience that I've had is mentoring and tutoring refugees, high school refugees. Specifically, I help tutor in math, science, and English. Not only did I brush up on my basics, I also established a relationship with them to learn more about their story and to have an opportunity to ask them about what they wanted to be when they grow up and what they aspire to be. In some cases, this was the first time they had ever thought about that. Having those dialogues about their experiences, their hardships, and their inner strength really inspired me. And it also made me reflect on how grateful I am to have grown up in the United States of America, where I've actually never been persecuted directly for my religious beliefs, my political beliefs, or my gender or my ethnicity. That mentoring relationship was incredibly inspiring, and I will have lifelong relationships because of that.
As a young woman, I had the opportunity to represent several girls in their lawsuit against the men who had trafficked them into this country and sexually abused them. Some of them were as young as 12 years old. It felt good to stand up and fight for those who had been helpless. There was one day in court that I'll never forget. It was the first day of trial. And even though the trial was packed with courtroom security, a federal judge, and all these lawyers with their fancy law degrees, those girls were scared when the defendant walked in the room. And it was at that moment I realized that physically standing next to those girls was just as important as all that time in the library and all those classes I had taken in law school. That was the real value of my legal degree.